Dear Diary, today my life changed forever. I never imagined my name would matter. I was just a girl, an orphan, a Jew living in a foreign land. My parents died when I was young, and my cousin Mordecai took me in. He raised me as his own daughter, taught me the ways of our people, and told me stories of our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But here in Persia, we kept our faith in whispers. We lived among a people who did not know our God. Their ways were not our ways, their gods not ours. But we survived. I learned to move quietly, to observe rather than speak, to blend in when necessary. And then today, everything changed. The messengers came through the streets, calling for young women to be taken to the king's palace. Not asked, taken. It was a command, not a choice. I wanted to run, I wanted to hide, but what could I do? Mordecai told me to go. Do not reveal that you are a Jew, he whispered as they led me away. Remember who you are, but tell no one. So I obeyed. But what awaits me beyond these palace gates? I was led through halls more magnificent than anything I had ever seen. Walls lined with gold, curtains of deep purple, marble floors so polished they reflected my own face back at me. I felt small. The women around me whispered in hushed voices. Some were weeping softly. Others clung to their families until the guards pried them apart. I kept my head down, my heart pounding in my chest. This was no invitation. This was captivity. The head eunuch, Haggai, watched us carefully. I saw his eyes move over the crowd, assessing, choosing. When his gaze landed on me, he hesitated. Then he smiled. I was given oils, perfumes, fine clothes. The other women muttered amongst themselves, eyes burning with jealousy. I didn't understand why. I did nothing to deserve this. That night, as I lay on silk cushions, staring at the high ceiling, I whispered a prayer into the darkness. God of my fathers, have you brought me here for a reason? There was no answer, only silence. Dear Diary, today I stood before the king. A full year passed in preparation. A year of oils, perfumes, lessons in royal etiquette. A year of watching women disappear one by one into the king's chambers, some never returning. My turn came. I was given anything I desired to take with me. Jewels, silks, golden ornaments. But I took none of them. I followed Haggai's advice. Simple elegance, nothing more. And then I was before him, King Xerxes, ruler of Persia. I expected coldness, indifference, a man who had seen too many faces to care about one more. But his eyes lingered on me. Something shifted in the air, and then, with a single word, my fate was sealed. She will be queen. The crown was placed upon my head. The people rejoiced. A feast was held in my honor. I smiled when they looked at me, but deep down I whispered, why me? I never wanted this, but perhaps. There is a reason, dear diary. Today I learned of the decree. The palace is a place of whispers. Servants, officials, and messengers move in and out, their voices hushed but never silent. I first heard it from a passing conversation in the hall. The Jews, all of them. I froze. I followed the voices, keeping my head low, straining to hear. Then I caught the words that made my blood run cold. The king has issued a decree. Every Jew in Persia is to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated, young and old, men, women, and children. The order came from Haman, the king's highest official. I clenched my fists. Haman, the man who walks the halls with his chest high, who thrives on the power he holds over others. I had always sensed something cruel in him. But this? Mordecai confirmed it. He stood outside the palace gates, dressed in sackcloth, wailing, mourning. I had never seen him like this. I sent my servant to him, but he refused to take the fresh clothes I offered. Instead, he sent a message back. Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone will escape. If you remain silent, help will come from elsewhere, but you and your family will perish. And who knows, perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this. My hands trembled as I read his words. For such a time as this? What can I do? I am only one woman. Dear diary, today I faced my greatest fear. The law is clear. No one, not even the queen, can approach the king without being summoned. To do so is to risk death, unless the king extends his golden scepter in mercy. It has been 30 days since he last called for me. I have seen his moods change like the wind. What if today is a day of anger? What if I go before him and he turns me away? Or worse. But Mordecai's words echo in my mind. If you remain silent, help will come from elsewhere, but you and your family will perish. If I do nothing, we all die anyway. I have made my decision. For 3 days I will fast. No food, no water. I have asked my servants to do the same, and I know Mordecai and my people will be fasting as well. After 3 days, I will go to the king. And if I perish, I perish. Dear diary, today I stepped into the throne room. My mouth was dry, my knees weak. The heavy doors opened before me, and I stepped forward, my heart hammering against my ribs. I could feel the eyes of the court on me. A hush fell over the room. The king sat high on his throne, his expression unreadable. He had not summoned me. Would this be the end? I held my breath. Then, he lifted his golden scepter. Relief flooded through me. I took a step forward, bowing low, my voice steady though my hands trembled. If it pleases the king, let him and Haman come to a banquet I have prepared for them. He smiled. I am still alive, but the battle is not yet won. Dear diary, tonight I hosted a banquet for my enemy. Haman arrived in high spirits, a smug smile on his face. He must have thought himself untouchable. The king drank freely, and the evening was filled with laughter. But I could barely taste the food before me. I was too aware of Haman's presence, too aware of what was at stake. What is your request, Queen Esther? The king asked. Even up to half the kingdom, it will be given to you. The moment was there. The words burned on my tongue. But something inside me told me to wait. Let the king and Haman come to another banquet tomorrow. Then I will answer the king's question. The king agreed, and Haman left feeling victorious. He had no idea what was coming. Dear diary, today I revealed the truth. The second banquet came. My hands were steady, my heart no longer filled with fear. What is your request, Queen Esther? The king asked again. I took a deep breath and spoke the words that had been forming in my heart for days. If I have found favor in your eyes, my king, let my life be spared, and the lives of my people. For we have been sold to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated. The king's face darkened. Who is the man who has dared to do such a thing? I turned to Haman. The adversary and enemy is this vile Haman. Haman's smugness drained from his face. He stumbled back, his lips forming silent words. The king rose in fury and left the room. Haman fell to his knees before me, begging for his life. But at that moment, he was beyond saving. The king returned to see him pleading at my feet. His rage flared. Take him away! By the time the sun set, Haman hung from the very gallows he had built for Mordecai. Justice had come. Dear diary, today my people were saved. The king gave Mordecai Haman's position, elevating him to second in command. But the decree Haman had issued could not be undone. The law of the Persians could not be reversed. Instead, the king issued a new decree, allowing the Jews to defend themselves. When the day of Haman's decree came, my people stood strong. They fought. They survived. And when it was over, they celebrated. A new festival was established, Purim, the day of deliverance. A day to remember that even in exile, even in uncertainty, God had not abandoned us. I once believed I was just an orphan girl, but God had a plan greater than I could have imagined. Perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this. Mordecai was right, and I am grateful I did not remain silent.